Mengumumkan ketibaan yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Rizwan bin Othman, Presiden dan Naib Chancellor Universiti Selangor, Pengurusan Tertinggi Universiti Selangor, dan Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin.
Announcing the arrival of yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Rizwan bin Othman, President and Vice Chancellor of Universiti Selangor, Management Committee of Universiti Selangor, and Professor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin.
Nyanyian lagu negaraku dan lagu negeri Selangor.
The National Anthem Negaraku and the Selangor State Anthem.
Hadirin dipersilakan duduk.
All guests, please be seated.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Majlis pada petang ini merafakkan kesyukuran kehadrat Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Dengan limpah dan kurnianya dapat kita bersama-sama berkumpul pada hari yang cukup indah di Majlis Syarahan Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin. Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, Majlis Syarahan Profesor ini adalah kerjasama antara Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Sains Hayat, Bahagian Hal Ehwal Akademik Unisal dan Pengurusan Tertinggi Unisal. Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, bagi memberkati majlis, dipersilakan Encik Haji Muhammad Zaini bin Yaakob untuk membacakan doa.
Doa recital by Mr. Haji Muhammad Zaini bin Yaakob.
الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ghafir lana zunubana wa liwalidayna warhamhuma kama rabbayana saghira. Allahumma ghafir lil muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Ya Karim, Ya Fattah, Ya Alim. Sesungguhnya kami berhimpun dalam majlis syarahan Profesor pada hari ini bagi menyatakan kesyukuran di atas kurniamu yang tidak ternilai. Jadikanlah kami hamba-hambamu yang sentiasa bersyukur, sama ada nikmat yang sedikit, lebih-lebih lagi nikmat yang melimpah ruah kepada kami. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Sesungguhnya Engkau Maha mengetahui bahawa kami di sini ingin menimba ilmumu yang sangat luas bagi mengembangkan potensi kami sebagai hamba-Mu yang Engkau redai. Justru berkatilah dan rahmatilah majlis kami ini. Kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu-Mu, sinarilah hati-hati kami dengan cahaya dan hidayah-Mu. Semoga dengannya kami mudah menerima dan menghayati serta mengamalkannya. Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram. Kurniakanlah jua kepada kami kesihatan anggota, kecergasan minda, ketenangan jiwa, kekuatan semangat. Semoga dengannya kami mampu mendepani cabaran, berdaya saing dan mampu mengangkat martabat diri, keluarga, masyarakat dan negara. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana haza jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'alillahum fina wa la ma'ana wa la man yanba'una syaqiyan wa la matrudan wa la mahruma. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa li ikhwanina allazina sabaquna bil iman wa la taj'al fi qulubina ghillan lil ladzina amanu rabbana innaka ra'ufur rahim. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adzaban nar. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Majlis mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada Encik Haji Muhammad Zaini bin Yaakob di atas bacaan doa itu tadi. Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, marilah sama-sama kita menyaksikan tayangan montaj penyampai syarahan Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin.
Presenting the montage for Professor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin.
Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, majlis pada petang ini menjemput Presiden dan Chancellor Universiti Selangor yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Rizwan bin Uthman untuk menyampaikan ucapan alu-aluan dan seterusnya memperkenalkan penyampai syarahan pada petang ini.
We would like to invite the President and Vice Chancellor of UNICEF yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Rizwan bin Uthman to deliver the opening speech and introduce our professional talk speaker.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala syafil anbiya mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan selamat petang saudara dan saudari pengacara majlis yang kita akan sama-sama dengar syarahannya pada petang ini yang diraikan Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin, Profesor Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Sains Hayat, merangkap penyampai pada petang ini. Yang dihormati Profesor Dr. Maksidin Ahmad Ishak, Naib Presiden dan Timbalan Naib Chancellor Akademik Pendidikan dan Jaringan Industri, yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Nur Nawawi, Naib Presiden dan Timbalan Naib Chancellor Pentadbiran Perancangan dan Jaringan Global, yang berbahagia Profesor Madya Dr. Fredlina binti Syahril, Dekan Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Sains Hayat, rakan-rakan pengurusan, dekan-dekan, pensyarah-pensyarah dan secara khususnya tetamu kepada Profesor Sharr Azni. Tuan-tuan, puan-puan, saudara-saudari yang saya hormati, pertamanya kesyukuran kata Allah SWT kerana dengan limpah dan rahmatnya kita dapat bersama-sama berkumpul pada petang ini bagi majlis syarahan Profesor kali kelima yang akan disampaikan oleh Profesor Sharr Azni Bin Harmin. Saya tertarik dengan video klip tadi, tetapi nasib baik dia di ujung-ujung gambar Sharr Azni pada waktu sekarang. Saya ingat tu gambar atas gambar siapa. Dan saya ambil kesempatan ini untuk mengucapkan tahniah kepada jawatan kuasa penganjur khususnya Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Sains Hayat dan bahagian akademik yang berjaya menganjurkan majlis yang amat bermakna pada petang ini. Tuan-tuan, pada hadirin yang dihormati, UNICEF amat mementingkan kecemerlangan khususnya lebih dan akademik. Walaupun kita ini sebagai sebuah IPTS, tetapi kita mengadakan program-program akademik yang sifat sedemikian kerana kita yakin dengan adanya program ini akan meningkatkan lagi kecemerlangan universiti. Lebih lagi di UNICEF terdapat 15 orang profesor dalam pelbagai disiplin ilmu yang saya yakin ilmu mereka ini patut dikongsi oleh khalayak yang lebih ramai. Apa yang kita lakukan ini sesuai dengan tagline yang kita perkenalkan, iaitu peneraju kepada transformasi, dan kita yakin syarahan perdana ini merupakan sebahagian daripada usaha bagi mencapai matlamat ini. Pada petang ini kita akan mendengar syarahan oleh Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin yang bertajuk Into the Blue, The Promise of Aquaculture. Dan kita di UNICEF sebagian besar mengenangi Profesor Sharr Azni, walaupun ketika saya mengenali beliau, saya ingat beliau ni orang Jawa, rupanya orang Perak satu negeri dengan saya. Jadi belum pun bagi saya tekan tadi, bagi mereka yang mengenali Profesor Sharr Azni adalah seorang yang cukup passionate tentang bidang kepakaran beliau, khususnya berkaitan dengan ikan, ya. Dan sudah tentu pada petang ini beliau juga akan berkatakan perkara yang sama. Saya mengharapkan dengan adanya majlis ini dan insya-Allah pada waktu-waktu yang akan datang kita akan juga mengadakan syarahan yang sifat sedemikian, kerana saya yakin dengan adanya syarahan sebegini akan membolehkan kita berkongsi dari segi pengalaman, pengetahuan, maklumat yang terdapat di universiti ini. Sebelum saya akhiri ucapan saya, sekali lagi saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada semua yang meluangkan masa untuk bersama-sama pada petang ini sebahagian daripada program slice kita yang telah pun bermula pagi tadi. Tuan-tuan dan perempuan, dengan itu saya ingat saya akhiri setakat itu. Sebelum kita mulakan, saya dengan ini menjemput Profesor Sharr Azni untuk ke hadapan. Silakan. Profesor Sharr Azni Bin Harmin. Sharr Azni Harmin is a professor and head of research cluster in aquaculture and marine biotechnology in the Department of Science and Biotechnology, UNICEL. He obtained his PhD in reproductive endocrinology from Memorial University of Newfoundland, Canada in 1991. 1991 sebahagian pun tak lahir lagi ya. He was a former Dean of Center of Graduate Studies and also formerly Dean of the Faculty of Science and Biotechnology at UNICEL, and previously was the head or Deputy Dean of Universiti Putra, Malaysia, UPM. An experienced researcher and able administrator, he was seconded to the Ministry of Science, Technology and Environment of Malaysia in 1995. He became the Managing Director of National Biotechnology Directorate in 2003 until he returned to UPM in August 2005. Currently, he is the member of Senate Committee and also member of Board of Governance of UNICEL. He is involved in teaching and research in aquaculture biotechnology, fry production technology, and marine biotechnology. He has supervised and co-supervised undergraduate students and postgraduate students leading to master's and PhD degrees. His principal research interests are marine biotechnology, probiotics, aquaculture, fish genomics, and proteomics, fish byproduct and natural product biotechnology. Sebagian senyum boleh sebut je, tak tahu apa benda saya tak tahu. I'm sure that Prof. Sharr will explain in this presentation after this. His current research project are studies of vitellogenin in river catfish. Ini saya tahu, ikan keli. Betul, Prof? Hemibagrus numerus, ikan apa ni? Ikan baung ya, ikan baung. Ngapa susah buat ikan baung tu ya? And mass production technology of fry river catfish, development of potential bacteria and probiotic organism in marine and freshwater fish, and molecular identification of blackwater fishes in peat swamp forests. He has published over 100 scientific papers in peer-reviewed international and local journal proceeding abstract and reports. He has actively participated in local and international conferences and seminars, industry and trade exhibitions on innovation and invention. His expertise, particularly in aquatic biotechnology, is often sought after by fisheries community, either in industry or government institutions. He has often been invited to present lectures and has participated as panel members in conferences and forums nationally and internationally. He has an extensive experience in biotechnology management, intellectual property right negotiations, commercialization, and bioentrepreneurship program, particularly with small and medium enterprises. He was also instrumental in developing research partnership with international bodies such as Malaysian MIT Biotechnology Partnership Program and Malaysian Cohort Program, which received major funding from the government. Dr. Sharr has extensive experience in addressing strategy, policy, and issues facing biotechnology, research and development, and other management challenges facing organizations and government agencies. He often participated in international meetings and also involved in landmark negotiation in biotechnology research and intellectual property issues both at the national and international level. He has held a wide variety of advisory and consultant posts to a few companies on projects such as production of specific pathogen, sea-based sea bass stocks, latex calcarifer, and macrobrachium rosenbergi. Benda ini udang galah, simple. A giant freshwater prawn stock and also developing a model facility for marine grouper hatchery. Currently, he is a member of Technical Committee on Aquaculture of SIRIM, Malaysia, and Technical Advisor to the Marine Fish Farmers Association of Malaysia. So ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Profesor Sharr Azni Bin Harmin.
Majlis mempersilakan Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Rizwan bin Uthman untuk memangkaikan selempang kepada Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni bin Harmin.
We would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Rizwan bin Uthman to present the ceremonial shares to Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni bin Harmin.
Majlis mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Yang Berbahagia Presiden dan Naib Chancellor Yang Berbahagia Datuk Profesor Muhammad Rizwan bin Uthman di atas ucapan aluan dan pengenalan kepada penyampai syarahan Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni bin Harmin.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Rizwan bin Uthman for the introduction.
Tanpa melengahkan masa, majlis menjemput Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni bin Harmin untuk menyampaikan syarahan Profesor yang bertajuk Into the Blue, the Promise of Aquaculture.
Without further ado, we would like to invite Professor Dr. Sharr Azni bin Harmin to deliver his professorial talk entitled Into the Blue, the Promise of Aquaculture.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'il mursalin. Rabbi shrahli sadri wa yassirli amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada pengacara majlis, saudara dan saudari pengacara majlis. Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Rizwan Osman, Presiden dan Naib Chancellor UNICEL, ahli-ahli pengurusan kanan Universiti UNICEL, para tetamu yang saya hormati daripada industri dan juga kawan-kawan daripada usahawan aquaculture, para profesor yang hadir pada petang ini, pensyarah yang saya sayangi, menitih mata pula dah, pelajar-pelajar fakulti yang ramai juga di sini, yang juga saya sayangi, dan hadirin dan hadirat sekalian. Tadi saya gemuruh juga bila Datuk cakap begitu kan. Sebenarnya Datuk tadi sebelum tadi dia kata ada kawan dia seorang, salah satu yang menggerunkan lah ialah selepas kahwin dia kata ialah syarahan perdana. So saya tak sangka pula sampai macam tu, tapi memang ialah there's a butterfly inside my stomach at the moment, although it is an kata orang a small function, and yet I think it's very important for us. The other thing I want to share with you is that, give me 5 minutes apa semua nak get dari apa benda tu. I met a professor when I was in overseas doing my PhD, and we were presenting papers. He was quite senior, I think 30 or almost 40 years, But I saw him preparing his lecture because he has a keynote speaker very seriously. And I said, how come you, dia kata dia macam nervous. And he was not very, it seems like he's nervous. I asked him, with your experience, I'm just a PhD student at the time, jadi I kata, with your experience, how come you get so nervous? Dia kata, what's a very important thing is that, dia kata, I've attended many. I've attended people. But the most important thing is that, do the people understand you? Do the people take home message is there? That means, if the people from this room, for example, tak tahu, doesn't understand or doesn't have any clue what I'm talking about, then you fail, is it? Wow, that is very heavy. So my thought today is that I make it as simple as possible, sembang-sembang. I don't delve into my hormone and to microbrachium Rosenberger Datuk cakap tadi. because that will be a mouthful of words, you know. You allow these Latin people to do this, so that's what happened. Okay, let's get into the tajuk. I think I'm a little bit calm now. Into the blue, the promise of aquaculture. I got question lah. They ask me what is that blue and blue, you know, and I said blue is water, like, just about that's all. So that means into the blue, you get into the water, and you look at the aquaculture. But we will. Okay, I'll cover briefly these things. The blue revolution, and what is aquaculture, because I have quite a varied background here. So, and then I will try to talk about global aquaculture performance, what is there at the international level, and what is there in our country itself pertaining to aquaculture. So it's an introduction where people say this is a 101 course lah. But I think should be able, as long as you kata, oh, Sharr Azni is working on ikan baung, nak bawa keluar benih baung, I'm happy already when you come out from the door. Alright? So this is where my expertise is, controlling fish reproduction in aquaculture. And I'll tell you about that. Then we have to look at, and come back again to the whole of aquaculture, whether it is sustainable or not, either we're doing it right. Because if we spoil our environment, bear in mind, our industry people knows that we also have so-called enemies inside that the green people doesn't like. At one time, when we open up all the mangrove to grow, to make ponds for the udang harimau, remember? And in the 70s, in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, I think udang harimau is a big thing. And a lot of people got millionaire, tapi when it was struck by a disease, and the whole thing collapsed. So Taiwan, the whole country collapsed, Malaysia too. So it is a highly risk because you have two medium, because in the water, you can't control the water. And then I'll look at aquaculture challenges and prospect, and then we conclude there. Okay, this is tilapia. Everybody knows this. I think this is truly an international fish. But you must have read recently, or somebody sending you in a WhatsApp that saying that this fish is not good and toxic and all those things. So I think Jabatan Perikanan on the website, they have already denied that. They have saying that it is not a problem. But okay, let's start with the population in the world. This is the from World Bank. In the 1800s, we only have about 1 billion people in the world. Then you will find that growing up, somewhere in 1974, we have about 4 billion. Then as we go now, we are now in the 7.2 or 7.3 billion people. But that number will go on. And it's expected to reach around 9 billion in 2048. In this case, in some report as in 2050. So what does it mean? We have to feed these people. Of course, we have to grow rice for us, wheat for us, but we also need fish as a source of protein. And so we have to produce at least 50% more food to feed these 9 billion people. And however, with the climate that we are facing now, then we might lose some of the crops. So there is a possibility that our crops are not doing that well when we have a temperature rising. Okay, and therefore we have the land, biodiversity, ocean, forests, and other forms of nature are being depleted. And unless we change to grow our food, manage our natural capital, then we will be at risk. And this again, I think in Malaysia, we talk about food security because we don't have enough. In Malaysia, it may be 60 or 70% food security. So there is a trend, and therefore I think we need to increase our. Okay, with that 19 million, we also see the increase of seafood consumption by the people. And then we have about, if you look at 2012, the farm raised is only about 40-50%. But we expect by 2030, there will be more farm raised. That means people are growing crops, people are growing fish. For some people that I meet, oh, I don't take, bau, smelly and all those things. I just tell him, you die or you eat. That's all. We have a means of getting the smell and everything. It's not a problem. Cuma I have to mix in bahasa Melayu pula dah. Is that because if you grow fish in a pond, then the tendency you will get smelly. But right now people are using cages in a fast swimming river, so you get the taste of a river fish. So that's not a problem, you can. Or before you sell, you run fresh water across the fish, for example, maybe 2 days, then it will be okay. All right? Okay, the other thing here, like I said, 62% of our food later on by 2030 will be cultured, like it or not. For those people who enjoy the wild fish, it won't be that easy that time. Okay, feed conversion ratio is... Huh? Okay, ada pula tak dengar. Hopefully this thing will... Okay, feed conversion ratio is actually the amount of feed required to produce 1 pound, or a ratio, it doesn't matter 1 kilo or whatever. If you look at the fish here, up here, you only need 1.1 pounds or kilo to produce 1 kilo of fish. Now if you have here beef, you need about 6.8 pounds or kilo to produce 1 pound. So this is a cost. Along the line you have 1.7 for chicken and 29. And this is determined that people are going for this one as a source of protein, although this is of course good, no harm about it. So you can eat 3 days chicken, fish, maybe 1 day beef, and the rest, So there is a move because of that. People are going in for the need. So like here, I am telling you that this is progressing much faster. It has the growth is much bigger. You will see this pond. This is the pond, and aquaculture can contribute to food security. So that means more and more people will grow, and in fact, it's much faster than livestock itself and also crops. So it has enjoyed 10% growth so far in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and then although now it's slightly less, but it's still ahead of others. Now, I'll get into blue revolution. This is yakap, a marine fish. So if you see this number, I try to put the fish address here so that I don't have to put the slide. So yang tadi itu tilapia, this is a commonly cultured fish. Now I tell you what, if you go to the store and you see the fish yakap at the same size, that means they are from the cage. But if you see one is big, 1 kilo, the other one is maybe 0.5 kilo, the other one, then it is from the wild. So as a tip, kalau dia bersusun nicely arranged in Tesco, whatever, my friend, bukan enak lagi dia orang, but let them have a choice. Let them have a choice. That means the fish is cultured. Because ada orang, I don't like cultured, they feed with antibiotics and all those things. And I tell them, we also don't want to die. At least not early lah, but we never know when we're going to die. But I don't purposely put antibiotic inside the fish. I think you can ask our friend industry there. That is the thing that we want to save. And in fact, later on, I think we want Malaysia to have a safe and nice seafood to export. All right. So that is the trick. Okay, this is the blue planet, or you all know about it. A blue planet means what? 71% kita punya earth surface water is covered, and the rest is, water mostly. It's only land, very little. And this water is in this form. Some other in the rivers, lakes, or vapor, and so on and so forth. That's the water. So it is a blue planet. So that's why it's called Into the Blue. So Into the Blue, we're trying to dive what is in the blue. Now, if you take it very detailed source of water, as I said, 71% is earth surface is water, 29% is continent and islands. And then 96.5% of the earth water tadi contained within the ocean as salt water. So technically you have 3.5% freshwater lakes, right? And this freshwater lake, almost 69% of it, to be exact, are in the form of ice. So that means very, very little, right, freshwater. But when we go to see the lakes, we have our lakes here, we see a very huge lake, but it's not much compared to ocean out there. So if you could melt all that ice and the Earth's surface was perfectly smooth, the sea level will rise to an altitude of 2.7 kilometers. That's how it is. And when I studied for my PhD in Canada, Newfoundland, kalau orang yang tak pergi sana, kalau orang pergi sana, dia Canadian, they call Newfoundland. That is right up north and not far from all this iceberg and so on. So during summertime, the iceberg break down and then they come to our lab very near. And you see up there. So that's how it is. Okay. What are the ocean water provide us with? Or for that matter, I'm referring water here in the sense like lakes and so on and so forth. Now, we have the plant and source of protein and micronutrients. We have climate regulation of climate and water trends. That's why we have air pasang surut. If you live by the oceans, by the sea. And mass transportation routes, the ocean provide mass transport. You have a couple and all those things. Provide pleasure and well-being, recreation, pharmaceutical compounds. This is a lot, quite a number of compounds that is from the sea. And that itself is the marine biotechnology area. And then you have fixation of atmospheric carbon by algae and much more. So these are some of the things to highlight the importance of the oceans. Now I got this one. Actually, we are in a much bigger picture. What they call it, blue economy. So this is the blue. In 2018, European Union put up a report, potential of the thing. Basically, you look at what is the blue economy and economic activities related to oceans, seas, and coasts. Blue economy covers a wide range of interlinked established. So here we have, this is presumably the water, I think, the water drop macam Petronas itu. Then we have here established sectors right up here, the blue one, fisheries, coastal tourism, warehousing, marine extraction, transport, and so on. And then the green one is emerging, desalination, coastal environment protection, offshore, and oceans. And these are the enabling activities. So really, what we have, the blue revolution that I'm talking about, is right here, the aquaculture. Right? So we are in the blue economy. And this is new. In I called MIMA yesterday, which is responsible for this one. What is our stand for Malaysia? They are just coming up with their papers. They have not looked at it very seriously in terms of economy output from this blue economy. So Indonesia has got their, I'll show you afterwards. Okay, there you are, blue economy, sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth improvement. So the blue economy encompasses many activities. Among them, like I said, renewable energy, fisheries, maritime transport, waste management, right? Climate change and so on, tourism. So these whole things, this is from the World Bank, and so the potential is huge. How huge is that one? That's it. In a nutshell, the blue economy refers to a range of economic uses of oceans and coastal resources, shipping, agriculture, mining, everything that covers in the sea. That's how much it is. If only we can get 0.0001. So 2.5 trillion, the ocean is valued at more than USD 24 trillion. This is a report by WWF 2015. And the ocean is, so I'll show you the ocean. This is from, not really, one of the port, I think. Okay, what is Blue Revolution? In 1985, not mistaken, The Economist, for those people who are economists know this magazine. This is a well-respected magazine, Economist. If you get your article here, it will be very nice. And they put up Blue Revolution, the promise of fish farming. And they're talking about how intensive the activities at that time and how can we enhance and step up the thing. So following that, You have a lot. For example, you have here BBC News putting up Blue Revolution to beat poverty. So people are looking for alternative. There are people who has not got enough protein, and these are all the news at that time, around 2011 or something, when the activity is very at its height in terms of producing this. So our neighbors have an Indonesian Blue Revolution. They have a conference. And yet, when I talk to my friend in Myanmar, they have not. I think Malaysia doesn't really get into it, and they are starting to get into this thing. And because they now realize they call it the blue economy, the BE is big, the contribution. Okay, what is the Blue Revolution? It's actually emergent aquaculture as an important and highly productive agriculture activity. So by 1995, you have people investing, and they are going it at a large scale, not like behind our rumah lah, you feel like taking, nak makan tengah hari, you take the fish, but it's not that way. It is really on a larger scale. So there is a move towards that into the blue. So basically the Blue Revolution refers to the time intense growth in the whole worldwide aquaculture industry from the mid-60s up to the present. So that's the Blue Revolution with all the fish here. Mind you, I'm telling you, because the fish at the sea is going to be decreasing and decreasing. We will not be catching more and more. When I was in doing my PhD, after I came back, they stopped the cod fishery in Newfoundland because of the shipping. The method of catching the fish is so intensive, so efficient, that even a small fish they caught. So after that, they keep it 10 years before they get the population back. So it is, although people say, okay, so that's about Blue Revolution. And what is aquaculture, Right? People are talking about aquaculture. So these are very simple. This is the Macrobrachium, Dato'. The Macrobrachium rosenbergi. When I did my undergrad in US, the professor is on South, on South America, South North America, Mississippi, Louisiana. Dia bercakap di dalam ni punya. And most of the time I don't understand, but orang kata sleepy pun ada, kan? So dia kata, Sharr, your Macrobrachium rosenbergi, dia kata kan. Kata apa dia ni kan? Like we undergrad, we don't go beyond the textbook pun. And dia punya lecture pun is not there yet. So, what is Burma? So I said, what? Then the shrimp, the fresh water. Oh, okay. Now, this thing is cultured in our country, researched earlier on in our country in Penang, right, Mr. Tan? But after that, tinggal nama lah. The Taiwan, the scientists from Hawaii took it back and make it into commercial, right? Then it goes to China, and China is now, isn't it, the world's largest producer of this thing. And so is our friend Bangladesh. Ada Bangladesh lecturer sini, I heard again. Bangladesh is bigger. You talk about production fish, Bangladesh in the list later on. So this is also a truly international species. But it started in Penang with the scientists. They work out and they close the cycle. We call it close the cycle. You take the adult fish, you breed inside, and then you will produce the baby, and then it grows. So we call it closed cycle. If you cannot close the cycle, that means you cannot breed the fish. All right. This is the definition of the aquaculture, farming of aquatic organism, including fish, mollusks, ikan. This is mollusks, ini kerang-kerang, crustacean, ini udang, aquatic plants ni tumbuh-tumbuhan lah yang ornamental, so you can take. So farming implies some form of intervention in the process to enhance production, such as regular stocking. You put the fish in the pond, you feed them, and protect from predators. And farming also implies individual corporate ownership of the stock being cultivated. In other words, if you take the udang galah from the river, you put it in a pond, and you feed them, and you don't eat straight away, and you keep them 1 month, you are doing aquaculture. as opposed to fisheries, ikan tangkapan, you take the fish from the wild, but you eat straight away. You don't keep them. Yeah, that means there is a fishery. So there is two different terms here. The fisheries means capture fisheries. You go laut dalam and get the fish, and then you eat it, as opposed to this one, you culture. Okay, again, I said very simple. What do you need? You need water, land, money, and of course training. And if you want to select microbrachium ke, ataupun lattice calcarifer ke, lattice calcarifer is siakap tu. If you want to select those fish, you have to have a expertise, and then you have to look at the market there, and you have to look at species biology. Can develop breed inside, because not all fish breed in captivity, production, economic, and so on and so forth. So these are the things that you have to look if you want to choose them. Where do we culture them? These are the things. I gave you the most common one: ponds, cages, ex-mining pools, cement tank, canvas tanks, pen culture. Pen culture is a kandang, where you have an area macam dekat Kuala Kangsar tu, yang the Tasik Raban tu, before dia pacak benda tu, and like a square, and then you have put the fish inside that. So it's like trapping. So that's pen culture. So these are the system. Of course, we have another off-bottom rope system dan sebagainya, but I think for the purpose of this thing is to introduce at least the most common one. You have ponds and cages. This is the ponds, right? And of course, this is a pen that I said, and these are cages. The cages can be more complicated, more expensive things other, but this is our Malaysian one. A raceway. This is a raceway. Of course, nowadays people are using the water again. Instead of throwing the water, they keep using that water. And if you want to use that water again, here is the fish. The water from the fish has got all the fish's fecal material, ammonia and so on and so forth. You trap them, you remove the solids. Then the water come out again, and then you go through this ammonia removal, the gas, and biofiltration, and then you put the gas back in order, and then you have to culture the fish. So this is good for people to culture the fish when the water is limited. Why do we do aquaculture? Protein, right? To get protein. They used to call it cheap protein, but I think maybe not that cheap these days, but still cheaper compared to the rest. Of course, transferring stock. You see what I'm doing now? I've got a fish from the fish that is almost extinct, or we don't have that many. You bring the adult inside, and then you breed them. Or sport fish. These are kolam pancing, and it's recycling waste. Or you use all the land or aquatic resource, and then you have this means of earning livelihood. For some people, this is the source of income. For usahawan and all those things, production of industrial fish. But I think this is the one that brings money to the country, the big one. Okay. Now we go to the global. What is out there in the global? This is udang harimau. Right? This is tiger prawns, which I said just now. It's it's a big business at one time, but not so much, but it's now picking up. I look at the latest report by 2018, World Fisheries Aquaculture, by the FAO. And if you look at per capita use of this thing, this is 2012, and in 1970s we only use about 11.5 kilo per capita. I mean in terms of the fish and fishery products. But somewhere along the line it has gone up and right up 22.4 by 2030. So that means there is a demand, there is a way where we can put our fish there, whether it's fresh water or whether it's marine. So there is a potential, as I said, for this particular. I'll skip these things. Yeah, jatuh. Now, this is an indication. I don't have the latest one, but this is an indication. Top 10 countries in terms of world production of the fish. So you have here China leading, and still is leading China. Of course, we have Indonesia, India, Vietnam, Philippines, Bangladesh, Korea, Norway, Thailand. If you look at it, the top 10 in the world are from this region, except for Norway and Egypt. The rest is all from Malaysia, from our countries, right? From this region, Asian. And top 11, 12 countries, I think this is just, so the total production is around that much, billion of ringgit. I skip that, all those things. Now, global fishery products, USD, due to decline of capture, there is a increasing demand for certified and premium products. This is from my friends Mazuki, and showing the country's global fish product import. So there is a sales to be made there. Let's look at 2016, right? This is the FAO. You have the aquaculture here. This is the capture. That means you have total capture. This is the amount. 2012, 92, then 19. So you see it's more, from the wild, it's more stable. Not going to be more. But if you look at total aquaculture here, it's going up, 66, 70, 73, 76, 80. So more and more people are replacing, going into aquaculture rather than going out to get the fish. Because it shows that it's stabilized, no more, that you can go. It doesn't go to 100 or something like that. And of course, utilization, you find human consumption also on the rise. For non-food users, also on the more or less about the same, but population in the billions on the rise, and per capita consumption also on the rise. So this is FAO. So there is what we call a sunrise industry here. Particularly in 2016, we have 170 million aquaculture. Of course, this is sales. I just pick up this thing to reflect the 2016 values. Again, this is a performance of the country, of the global aquaculture production in terms of, but one thing for sure that the aquaculture data is there and is more, like I said, on the rise rather than going down. Just now we've seen the one, this is in 2006, and still you find that India, China, Indonesia, Vietnam, Bangladesh still. So it's not much a difference. Instead, the magnitude in terms of water production may be different, but those countries are ahead of many of other countries. So that's a global production. I think I'll go there. Okay. Now what happened at our doorsteps? This is 203. Laut Pantai is coastal fisheries, which is 10 kilometers or 10 knots below, to the coastline, right? So it's not far. Take it macam 10 kilometers lah, right out there. Laut Dalam is more than that. Aquaculture air tawar, fresh water, aquaculture air tawar, brackish water that include the groupers, and then perikanan darat inland, tasik, rumpai laut, seaweeds, ikan hiasan ornamental, and tumbuhan aquatic plants. So you will see that still the Laut Pantai is leading in terms of the catch productions. And you will find that here, this is data for 2012 and 2003. 2012 is here and 2003. So the rest is about stable, in terms of production value. This is 2015. Few years later, again you will find the Laut Dalam is there, here, 2015, and the rest is solar stables, right? So, in other words, the contribution to the sector, to the national fisheries sector production value is still from the coastal fisheries. While the rest is picking up, but is still leading. So this is again the values of aquaculture production. I think I'll skip those things. Okay, this is 2016 metric ton fresh water. This is the amount, and brackish water. This is the amount, the metric ton that we are collecting from the wild. This is a comparison in terms of production. Again, fresh water. I just want to show you the ponds, the mining pools, the cages, the cement tanks, canvas, and pen culture. The primary use of system to culture the fish. And here, brackish water, you have ponds and cages, and cement tanks mostly. So leading the others still the ponds for the fresh water, and the brackish water still the ponds. But this is going to go away because we are not going to have lands to put that, and sometimes it's competing against the other development which is more potential in terms of return dan sebagainya, ROI and so on. This is the freshwater value. I think I'll skip that thing. Freshwater commercial species. I took a look at the metric tons in terms of the top 10 of what fish. Of course, leading is the catfish, klee, and then we have the red tilapia, the pangasius, patin, the Orocramis is the black tilapia, followed by rohu, toman, jelawat, and not toman, but river catfish, bau. Yeah, that's pulau. Yeah, it's a toman. Rohu. Rohu is a fish from India, but they use it for fishing, sport fishing. So that's why. So production, when there's a demand, then people will produce. Okay, for brackish water, you have the seaweed up there, and then the white shrimp, udang putih, and of course you have sea bass, siakap, lettuce calcarifer, and then you have a red snapper, ikan merah, cockles, kerang, grouper, atau garupa. If you go to the store, they say garupa. It's from the word English grouper. Alright, tiger prawns, udang harimau, picking up. Of course, you have jenaha and also milkfish. Milkfish ni, for those people who've been to Philippines, they probably try that. We don't have much of this fish on this side, but in Sabah maybe on the other side. Okay, just another figure in terms of production here for direct. So I just flash that thing. This is I borrowed it from a friend from the department. This is in terms of their target for the country, producing by 2020 they want 790,000 metric tons. But this is close, esok atau lusa je. So I don't know whether we're going to get it or not. All right? But I have supposed to have from fisheries department here, I think. Okay, this is a program, if you remember, the previous government has got this transformation program, and they are looking at aquaculture, and to have this middle income nation from this much to this much. And the way this, they're using it, many activities. And in aquaculture, they pick up these three activities so that you can have raise the standard of people or the farmers. One is seaweed development. This is a big thing in Sabah mainly. Of course, they have integrated cage culture here for fishing. Some of the freshwater or marine doesn't matter. I think tilapia is the one they are very focused. And then we have integrated shrimp farming. So these are the trees. And I'm not sure the standing of this particular thing right now, whether it's still there or the present might have some idea. So the key strategy at that time was to have this planned aquaculture development zone, establishment of biosecurity program, private sector smart partnership, also promoting Malaysia as a quality and safe food haven just now. Do I have more time? Okay. Next, I will go to the things that we've been doing, either here and also UPM previously, is controlling the fish reproduction in aquaculture. That's basically it. You bring the fish from outside and you put it in a tank or in a pond, and then you start working in the fish to produce a fry, the baby. So this is a reproductive cycle. You have this hormone regulation of the fish reproduction. The reproductive cycle of a fish consists of this vitellogenesis stage, and you have oocyte maturation and hydration, oocyte ovulation, mature eggs, and follicular atresia. In other words, vitellogenesis is a process whereby the eggs or the oocyte, we call it oocyte, oocyte, when they are very young. When they mature, we call it eggs. Tapi orang Melayu panggil egg semua. So you beli ikan, you potong, even small egg, telur, dia bagi telur. Tapi to my student, you have to differentiate. Eggs are the one yang dah keluar, yang dah macam ovulated, macam orang kita lah, orang perempuan ovulated. Satu telur tu keluar, kan? So that means dia every month dia. So the fish is the same thing. Bila dia ovulated means dia dah mature. So oocyte maturation, hydration. I'm looking at all these things, trying to understand that particular fish, whether we can keep the fish and get the eggs all the time. And then we are using hormone induction of ovulation and spawning ni untuk pembiakan. Dan juga I'll touch about dysfunction, because the fish sometimes not necessarily wants to follow you, what you tell him. So he will have his own mind, and he said, no, I cannot breathe inside the fish. You're taking me, put in the tank, and I don't have this rainfall, I don't have this photo period to get the system going. So that's the thing. So in simple things, hormone regulation of fish production. And this you have to understand, HPG exists, you call it. This is a basic, why we study fish reproduction. People like I ni, some people yang wants to know the fish, because you want to understand the reproductive species. At the moment ada 24,000 or 30,000. But the cultured species only about 400 in the world. Right? So this 30,000, the number is going and going up and up, because more people catching the fish and they don't know what fish is that. So in aquaculture, we do it for breeding purposes. If we study reproduction, in ecology, fisheries, we need to understand the dynamic of the fish stocks, better management of the system so as to have a sustainable aquaculture. That's the key word, is sustainable aquaculture. So that is the study of reproduction. When Datuk read my just now, is reproductive endocrinology. Endocrinology is a hormones, just like we have our hormone testosterone for the male, female for estradiol for the reproduction. We also have the growth hormone. We also have a thyroxine for people having thyroid problem, and those are the hormones. Now, it's very important for the people of reproduction to understand this axis and also to manipulate this. This is called hypothalamus-pituitary axis, but then the brain pituitary gonad axis. This is the gonad, right? So the way the fish got, shall I say, start reproducing is when you have the environmental stimuli. In our case, mostly the rainfall. So when you have kemarau, you have so long, no rain, for example, 2 months or so, or once a week you have a rain, so that they consider kemarau. And when you have heavy rainfall, all of a sudden you have heavy rainfall, that cue is taken up by the fish at the brain. When it's taken up by the fish, they process the brain to produce this small LHRH hormone. They call it luteinizing releasing hormone. And this is a very small peptide. Peptide is a protein. So as you know, kita protein are made up of like amino acid, right? They are made up of amino acids. And this particular protein will travel to the pituitary, which is below the brain. It's very short, not far. And stimulate this pituitary gland to produce gonadotrophin. This gonadotrophin is the one that travel in the blood right up to testis kita, yang lelaki, jantan fish, ikan jantan, and the ovary to the females. And there this gonadotropin will stimulate the ovary to manufacture another hormone, which is called androgens for the male, and of course the progestin and estrogen. For the female, they need estrogen that is travel to the liver. From the liver, they start making yolk proteins. And this yolk protein goes back into the ovary, and you get oocyte besar. From 100 micron, from 100 micron, it might go 1 millimeter is 1,000 microns. So normally the fish will start around 50 micron, 100 micron, and right up to 450 microns or 500. Then you start put the hormones, that most likely you will succeed. So this is a process whereby you have to understand. And people who study like me, will come in which part of this thing that you can manipulate to reproduce, to get the babies fries all the time. Because it's very important for business people, they get supply all the year round. Now, unlike you in the temperate countries, they only spawn once a year. And if you don't have the baby, you don't have as many as possible indoor at that time, you don't have the fish. So but we can manipulate here, you can manipulate here, and you can manipulate here, depending on this hormone that you give. Right? So my work mostly manipulation is here, LHRH. I'm using a small peptides and work on different fine fish. And this is, I mentioned just now, the thing. That's basically, I show you the graph. So this is the oocyte. And here is these special cells and all these things are the one producing the hormones. Right? And here is testis, ovary. We have all this meiosis, mitosis, initiation, and oogonium, and suddenly coming to this side and all these things. So let's not bog down with all these things. I'll just show you that. And this is the development. Oogenesis is the development of the oocyte, of the egg, of the oocyte itself. From July, in this case, is a temperate country. From July, August, and then September, you will find the size increase until May, then ovulated. Why May ovulated? Because in May, the water get warmer. The plankton makan itu. So that means God, Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, dah time in such a way, ikan tu betul setahun sekali je. But when it comes to May, kan dekat north belah sana, utara tu dia bulan ni sejuk, right? They stop, they just sit down there doing nothing, and after here they're ovulated, and then when they spawn, they're ready, all the food is there. Of course, here is never mind, we get that. So this is just to show that we have fish that are, when they are developed, when they spawn, all the fish spawn at one time. This is ikan Pacific salmon. Before you came just now, I was thinking to put a spawning fish, salmon. You've seen on TV people, the fish running towards the river, upstream of the river, and you see the beruang kan tangkap ikan ni. And that fish is actually going for spawning. And the fish travel about 200 miles to where they're born, to where they're released, the same spot. And scientists doesn't know why and how they do it. All they say is the imprint in the brain. But that's the reality. When they reach there, they spawn, male and female spawn, they die. That's for Pacific salmon. For Atlantic salmon, when I was there, they're still alive. They tak mati. So for Pacific salmon, on the other side of the, and then you have this group synchronous. These are ovulate. You can get telur from time to time. And then you have asynchronous. This is tropical fish. And that is why tropical fish, you get little eggs at a time and small number of fries. I'll skip this thing. This is the stages of the oocytes. Now, this is probably life cycle of a fish. I show this because I want to tell, because this is where the farmers are producing. Which is the farmer producing? Here is the eggs, are fertilized eggs. And then somehow, in our case, about 36 hours or 48 hours, you got the larvae already, they hatch. But in the case of salmon, you will have maybe weeks before they hatch, or months. Then you have a fry. Fry is about an inch, roughly, half an inch to inch. This is a fry, they call it, the baby fish. Then the fingerlings that's why it's called fingerling, because it's finger size, your fingerling. So this is the size that you sell to people. And this is juvenile. Dia macam kita lah, juvenile kan, juvenile. And then, betul ke juvenile? And then we have the adult fish, and then the spawning. Spawning fish, ikannya akan bertelur. So that's the cycles. And we get excited over this cycle because we study the hormones and stuff, play around here, because the fish dies a lot in here. But if you get the eggs, you get 1 million. At the end of the day, sometimes it's only 10% you get. That would be lucky if you're a grouper or 10%, right? If you're a grouper 10%, Mr. Tan agree because you'll be millionaire. Not only millionaire, billionaire. But we don't manage. It's only like 3% or 5% out of a million. So we don't know. Maybe naturally it's that way. When the scientist doesn't have the answer, oh, it's natural. Eh? All right? So this is where the thing is, the cycles. This is what I said. If you can close the cycle, you can breed the fish. But sometimes you cannot close. They just refuse to breed. This is my favorite fish baung. Dato'. This is, when I was small, I followed my father. And we always go and catch baung. Somehow, when I had a chance to do it, then I thought, why not baung? Battery habis? So for those who are fishermen and have caught this and they know how the fight is with this fish. Although they are half a kilo, but the fight is good. So this is Hemibagrus nemurus. Tadi the Mistus nemurus. Then the scientist, another crazy scientist say, no, you cannot say, you cannot use Mistus because we find these new things. Then there's a Hemibagrus. In fact, there's a new name pula, the ganti Hemibagrus ni, but I think I'll stick to this one for a while because they keep changing. This is a phylum. It's from the family Bagridae, and this is the baung. It's very nice. Kalau buat air masak asam, masak pedas, for some people lah. The objective is, I'll just mention it, is to actually study the reproductive cycle of the fish and looking at ovarian stage and so on, because we don't have those things. Commonly called ikan baung, and we have it in Asian countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand dan sebagainya, and it's being cultured. And of course, the problem with this thing, we don't have enough fry, the babies to distribute. Okay, so I'll go straight to that. This is vitellogenesis in the fish. As I said, it started here, the small one, and it developed into oogonia, primary oocyte, pre-vitellogenic, and then suddenly you have this lots of protein going inside, and coming to a stage with early maturation, and suddenly you got these ovulations. Once you get ovulation fit and you put the sperm inside it, they will fertilize. And this whole thing is vitellogenesis. This part here is maturation, ovulation. This is to show that you have this stage here. Forgot about the sperm here. We're talking about the females. You have the free vitellogenesis, which is this line here. You have this hormone acting on it, but towards the later part, as these things become bigger, you have this luteinizing hormone which act on it to make it ovulated. So technically, the hormone is regulating the stages of this particular stage of the oocytes. So we have free vitellogenic, where no protein going inside it. Vitellogenesis, where active protein is going into the oocytes or to the eggs, and then we have maturation and suddenly ovulation. Well, this is how we do it. We catch a few fish, 5 or 6 beavers, and then okay, this is the stage when we do the cross-sectioning. We can look at the different stages of the fish, and then we count this and form a frequency, and then every month and look at different patterns and so on. Again, it's the same thing. This is what we did for 2009, about 6 months, looking at our GSI and oocyte diameter. We take the diameter of the oocytes and look at monthly and the frequency of that particular thing. So we form a frequency for that particular month, and we look and we measure how many microns is it. It's a simple, straightforward, no gene expression, nothing. In this case, it's not a molecular biology stuff. Now we also work on the embryonic larva development, because at that time we want, if you want to culture, we need to do it. We have this fish, the characteristic of the eggs, spherical, adhesive, and demersal. Mean diameter is 1.5 millimeter when it's hatched, when it is ovulated, and we find it about 7 embryonic period, and mean hatch 23 hours. In other words, you put the sperm, you put the eggs, and you let them do it themselves, and they will multiply. 2 cell, 4 cell, 8 cell, and finally within 22 hours you get a baby fish coming out already. So that fast. My fish, when I did PhD, 2-3 days I still looking at it, it doesn't come out that fast. Because the water is slow. We all know the water temperature act, right? Macam kita lah, when we are cold, hujan, kita sejuk duduk. Panas, kita aktif sikit, right? So sejuk, kita duduk saja. So the same thing affecting the fertilization. Newly hatched larvae, 3 millimeter total length, morphogenesis completed in a. Morphogenesis is the shape where semua datang. Before, the funny thing of this, you can see, because I used to see the development, you can see the thing coming out, or the fin, and so on and so forth. Yolk sac completely absorbed in 3 days. Now, if you go to the hatchery, you will find the baby fish, and then you will find perut dia buncit. Dia carry yellow stuff. So that is what we call yolk. And dia makan, eating like this for the next 3 days or 4 days. After that, you must give them live feed. If not, they die. So my student used to kill the fish. I don't know whether here. Because when I give the adult, beli, but dah mati dah, dia kata. So because they don't feed. 3 days, dia kata, the class tu ada sini. So they die. The fish die after 3 or 4 days. And this information is useful for. Now, if you want to work on new species, then you have to do all over again. So that means it's repeating. It's about the same. You cannot have information before to apply for another fish. It's just a development from the early stage right up to the where you have the CD. 2 cells, 4 cells, 8 cells, and you have the blastula. When you cannot count, they call it blastula. Not because they cannot count, it's too many already. So the shape, then they say, okay, we have blastula, then gastrula, and then you will find the shapes of the fish coming out. And finally, we look like this one. Ni kepala, the head, and the tail, and this one here, and this is the hatching one. So it's very small, you tak nampak, you cannot see. Okay, so that's about it. But you also look at the plasma hormone. In other words, we look at the hormone profile inside that. Now, we collected the fish. This is the months from August 09 to September, almost a year. And this is the hormones, the testosterone and 11-keto testosterone. And we look at the trend. This is for our fish. Truly, it's not as exciting as the temperate, because there are ups and down. That's because, like I said, they spawn all the year time, all the year round. So they don't. If you look at females, this is the female estradiol. Look at it. Pig, I don't know. We figure out we got 2 in a year at least, or maybe 3. Because when it goes up here, that means the hormone level is very high. That means the eggs already quite big, the oocytes. and they're almost ready. And this is the same thing. So you look at it. Okay, this is a fish that I did for my PhD, this particular fish. You take this female fish here, estradiol. The temperature is very well. In September, October, November, December, it goes right up here. Then, as I said, in February, it's just sitting there, not doing anything because the temperature is -0 and so on, 0 degrees. It goes up. So the both hormone. If you look at this young, this particular one is estradiol. This black dot is testosterone. So here it goes up. May and April, this is where the spawning. The fish spawn, the hormone level drops to here because there is no eggs. Then it will pick up again. So this is the same thing here. Oocyte diameter, the eggs diameter goes up, drops, and then go up again. So it was a good one. But for tropical, you got this roller coaster ride. They go like that. So can you predict? Some people say 2 times or 3 times. Right? It's the same thing. If you cut the fish, you cut the oocytes, it will be that's how it looks like. This is the testes, and then we also use hormones to induce ovulation to get the fries. I skip that. Now, hormone manipulation, I told you to manipulate. Why is so important? Because to synchronize spawning and optimize egg collection and fry production. If you can go at one time, you get more. Synchronize. But if the fish could say about in a week's time, if you can do it now, then you have more. You have more eggs to collect. You advance maturation, for example, or collect gametes. Gametes ni common name for eggs and sperm. And then also people doing genetic selection program is the same thing. I skip that. Basically, we have this. Let's see. Okay, when we look at hours, changes in the female testosterone, truly this is at the beginning. By the time 24 hours, you see the hormone goes up. And when the hormone goes up, the scientists kata, the axis is working. You know, the axis daripada atas tadi, the one at the top, and they go down the brain. If the axis doesn't work, then it's not going to go this way. Okay, I'll skip that because I got about 10 minutes to go. This is induced spawning. This is going to be very fast. Again, we have the. I use this particular hormone, like I said, LHRH, to do the work. This is the hormone. This particular here. Like I said, the amino acids. Okay, I wanted to go to close these things. This is what happened. In some fish, they refuse to go to spawn because of the problem with the status of the thing. I also want to highlight here, we have a project here to develop, to work on vitellogenin, and we have developed a kit that is commercialized. Recently we went for ITEX, we won that, and that can be commercialized if other people. And this is this is what we have, the protein, that we isolate the protein. We have 2, and we take this one and we produce a kit so that we can measure if ikan baung whether it's ready to spawn or not. And we also have this yolk that the protein that we are working on before, but I think the students might have left us recently. My other things also, we work on a tiger grouper ataupun kerapu using a probiotic. Okay. A little bit about, I'm coming to the end of the lecture, Sustainable Growth in Aquaculture. This is Patin from Mentakap, so my friend from Jerantut. So this is very familiar. Jerantut, Temerloh, right up to Pekan. right? Or chino or something like that. You also have those things. If you want to do it sustainable, you must take into consideration environmental, that it doesn't spoil the environment. It's also profitable and also socially accepted. So this is very important for sustainable aquaculture. We cannot do aquaculture without taking into this consideration. And because the green people will be after us, right? They don't like this kind of thing. So we need to talk to them, say that, oh, look, we want to do, but we don't, we don't open up simply the land and also throw all the garbage. It's just like Sungai Kelang, for example. You raise a fish there because the water is such bad water that is because people are throwing so many things. Okay, confronting the blue, aquaculture. So, challenges. Well, this is just to show you some of the projects under Super Aquaculture in Malaysia. Now, challenges, we have these things, some of the things, environment pollution. Sometimes people are neglecting these things, so they'll do this. We also have this species. The R&D has been to step up. It's a challenge for new selective species breeding. Technical problem, fish disease, penyakit ikan is still a problem there. Economic, marketing, and social. So these are challenges to overcome, and it is an issues also. So seeds from the wild. We also have this recently that I pick up that in other words, Scientific American is mentioned that the future of fish farming may be indoors. In other words, you will have a system inside, just like chicken. I think in the USA they have 10 tingkat going up, and suddenly it's not human inside there, but it's all chicken. So we have also planned now growing what we call it vertical gardening. So there's no, it's the same thing for fish. It's going to be indoors later on. Of course, a bright future of fish farming, and of course, this globe is saying why Southeast Asia is perfectly placed to embrace large-scale farming. And for the more, you can ask industry friend behind there. Okay, way forward, it's just like we just pick up from there and start doing all this, what is necessary to keep the industry going. We have to have the R&D. Malaysia perlu angkasa sector aquaculture. So one is a while this thing comes up, but we need to do more because I think Vietnam is nowhere from us last time. We teach the Vietnamese people, but we become teachers saja. And they go back and they do it. And they are now on the list producing patin, tons of patin. And they call it catfish. There is a political to it. US doesn't like catfish. Catfish only for US. So they insist that you change it to pangasius. So that's why in the report they call it pangasius. Right. But they are not nowhere, shall I say, because before. But because they do it big scale and they actually move, their minister is there with them when they go for promotion, actually cut the deal and everything, so they come up. Thailand, I think Thailand is a bit behind now this day, right? Because it used to be Thailand. So you go out now, you pangasius patin. And perhaps dory is also, dory is marketed as, it's a pangasius. For siapa yang pergi, okay, dory is not actually dory to marine fish. Original, yes, right, marine. But now dia ambil patin, dia letak situ. So that's why I don't eat patin. I eat patin from Mentakap ataupun Tepenloh. I don't eat patin from Perak, Datuk. I think I have to be careful. Keli also I don't eat from. If I don't know the source, I don't take. Because susah, right? Okay, so that's a little bit agriculture, the way forward. We think that it's going to intensify. We're going to use all the opportunity that is there. Most people involved in agriculture production, and so there is also training to be done in terms of these things. So in conclusion, the importance of aquaculture, overall fish supply is going worldwide. At present, its share is, and so on and so forth. And the important aquaculture, we cannot neglect. I think it will contribute to our protein supply, and the critical supply is in the seed. The basic study need to be done, some form of manipulation, and of course study, we have to work with the industry people. Okay. Before I end, I'd like to acknowledge the people Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, thankful for kesihatan yang dibagi up to now, and also I'm involved with this organization before, Ministry of Science, UNICEF, MOSTI, UPM, and I like to thank my students and colleagues who the one that I presented, mostly my PhD students work, and the sponsors of the research, biotech, Ministry of Education, Selangor State, and of course my parents who've been there all the time from I was small, and they're still alhamdulillah alive, masih ada lagi, tapi 80 tapi tak berapa sihat lah, tak bawa. Last but not least, my wife at the back there, Kamaria, who's been supporting me, and of course to other people, and finally I like to thank the team from Sharr, who is responsible for today, and also the Sharr and his team from the YBhg, and of course the dean of the faculty, Dr. Fred, and also Hasno, who is the manager for today on behalf of the faculty and his team. They did a lot of work. They are here. This all baju is the first day cover ni for today. So they pilih I punya lecture, my lecture to do this. And of course, I think thanks to the UNICEF, to Dato and the rest for giving me opportunity to be in UNICEF and to contribute to whatever I can. Thank you very much.
Majlis mengucapkan terima kasih kepada yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin di atas syarahan yang telah disampaikan.
Thank you Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin for the insightful and motivating talk.
Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, marilah sama-sama kita teruskan dengan tayangan montaj Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Sains Hayat.
Moving to the next agenda, presenting the montage presentation by Faculty of Engineering and Life Sciences.
Begitulah tadi tayangan montaj yang telah disampaikan. Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian,
terima kasih kepada yang hadir pada petang ini, dan sebagai tanda penghargaan, terimalah hasil penulisan saya yang bertajuk Into the Blue, The Promise of Aquaculture.
Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, mari sama-sama kita menyanyikan lagu Universiti Selangor. Para hadirin di pohon berdiri.
UNICEL Anthem. All guests, please rise.
Di sini keilmuan jadi budaya.
Hadirin dan hadirin dihormati sekalian, dengan ini berakhirlah sudah majlis syarahan Profesor Dr. Sharr Azni Bin Harmin. Pihak majlis sekali lagi merakamkan jutaan terima kasih atas para hadirin dan hadirat sekalian di atas kesudian menghadiri program ini. Semoga dengan syarahan sebentar tadi memberi manfaat dan mampu membentuk jaringan kerjasama antara kesemua pihak untuk memberi ruangan pembelajaran sepanjang hayat. Akhir kalam, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to